Hello, my name is Martyr, and this is my top 10 indie games of 2014, and thank you for watching. Before we get into this, guys, a couple things to understand that this is completely based off of games that I personally enjoyed over the course of 2014. If there's a certain game that didn't make the list, it's, either because I didn't play it, or I didn't enjoy it as much as the ones that are going to be listed in this video, guys. So it's all just, a personal opinion. So, relax and enjoy the video, guys. So let's get into this, shall we? So without further ado, this is my top 10 indie games of 2014. Number 10, Poltergeist, a pixelated horror by Glitchy Pixel. Poltergeist was a game close to my heart, guys. While, its fun themes and its puzzles are great and fantastic and can entertain anyone, it was a game that I kind of personally watched grow and changed what it is into now, which is a fantastic title. I contacted the developer way when the game was in alpha, and they took a chance on me and let me play their game and featured on my channel when I had like less than 100 subscribers. And now the game is released here in 2014. It's clean, it's crisp. There's a lot of love poured into this game. It's actually the first indie game that I ever reviewed, and I'm proud to say that. The developers are very nice and passionate people, guys, and that really shows in every facet of Poltergeist. From the adorable pixel graphics to its kind of easy to pick up and play nature. I guess what I could say, guys, is that what I loved about Poltergeist was its simplicity. It's just focused on fun, scaring the bejesus out of people, and making sure that you, the player, have a really good time, guys. So speaking of games that are close to my heart, number 9, Cosmo Korea by Nate Schmold. Guys, Cosmo Korea was another great title that grew throughout the year of 2014, and kind of like the seeds in the game itself, it still is growing. When I first found this game, it had just entered Steam Greenlight and not many people have heard of it, but I could tell that this game had some really fun potential, guys. Lucky enough for me, the developer sent me an early alpha build of the game, and I was blown away by the game, guys. From the addictive arcade nature to the hilarious main character, guys. Cosmo Korea puts you in the role of a tiny astronaut who wants to spread seed across the massive galaxy while dealing with random rogue elements like bosses and hundreds of aliens. I can't forget to mention the unforgiving difficulty of this game, guys. As you get deeper into the game, planting more on more planets, facing an onslaught of enemies non-stop, but that's what gives the game its replay value. That's what gives it its awesomeness, guys, that you're going to die, and you're going to unlock more and more and get better at the game, and it just never stops being fun, guys. While Cosmo Korea is still in early access, the game is already also on very solid ground. It's a very solid game, and it's just getting more awesome with the additions that they add every patch, guys, from unique weapons, bosses, and enemies, and more. Number 8, Banished by Shining Rock Software. Proving that I would be a horrible, ineffective leader, guys, we have Banished at number 8. Banished captured my attention not only because of its brutal difficulty dealing with, death, famine, disease, outside attacks, but because of its deeply focused city building mechanics, guys, with each building adding something unique to the overall community, from your quarry to your mines, but you also have to balance risk and reward. If you extend yourself too far out, you basically spell yourself doom. But at the same time, Banished is also fairly simple, at least from the start, and the game adds more layers of complexity as you delve deeper into the game. Aspects like education, health, and happiness become very important things to manage and take care of as you head deeper into the game. Now, while Banished isn't necessarily on the cutting edge of graphics, guys, it's still a very satisfying game to, see the fruits of your labor as your small village becomes a massive metropolis, seeing hundreds of laborers move back and forth and do your bidding. And then, of course, the inevitable watching it all burn and crash as everyone dies a horrible death over one particular winter. Number 7, Loadout by Edge of Reality. If you find yourself in a situation where you're watching another player get burned alive, their skin turning black and char as they scream horrifically, and then they turn around and blow you in half with a rocket launcher that bounces off the floor, you're playing Loadout. One of the most hilarious and awesome third-person shooter, guys, that I have had the pleasure of playing. Now, guys, Loadout is all about the guns, and with an endless variety of weapons that you can craft uniquely, from laser guns, electrical guns to healing beams, and there's always carnage going on completely around you. Loadout deserves far more credit as a free-to-play game, guys. It's a really fun, really, I think, undercredited game. Also, it's using microtransactions as they should be for purely cosmetic reasons, leaving the core of the game completely skill and time investment based. Now, Loadout won't please hardcore FPS fans or people looking for a game to like 360 no-scope somebody, but that is kind of what I like about it. It's wacky, it's stupid and fun, and that's exactly why I play Loadout. That's what I love about Loadout. The carnage, the chaos, and finding those guns that you really enjoy, and then always kind of changing things up with different weapons. Number 6, Magicite by Smash Games. Making a truly unique roguelike, guys, it's a difficult thing to do. Let's face it, roguelikes are becoming dime a dozen now. But on the other hand though, Magicite, despite being in a crowd, manages to stick out with its deep crafting and even deeper gameplay, guys. Starting you almost out with nothing, you will build yourself up almost kind of like Terraria and fight ridiculously tough enemies. Now, Magicite does have its frustrating moments, unabashedly using that rogue factor, starting you out in front of a boss, for instance, but sometimes gracing you with like a diamond sword in the first area, and that's what I loved about Magicite. It was almost unpredictable, but at the same time consistent. The combat was intense. There's different play styles, using ranged weapons, melee weapons, or magic. What separates Magicite from all the rest of the roguelikes I played, guys, is I never got tired of it. I could play for hours and hours on end, and it always rewarded you with something new at the end of the game. The reward system is brilliant. You can either get new styles or new races or whatever have you, and it kept you going and wanting to play. Also, the game was very rewarding if you played it smart, choosing battles carefully and mastering your strategy, guys. And that's easily why Magicite is one of the best roguelikes I've played this year. Number 5, Saturday Morning RPG by Mighty Rabbit Studios. Now, if you know me, you know that I love everything out of the 80s, guys. From the movies to the TV shows, the clothes, I love the 80s. Even though I wasn't a child of the 80s, I still loved it. Mighty Rabbit Studios made a game for all those people just like me. From zebra-striped gum to the moonwalking, punching your enemies, guys. Saturday Morning RPG is chocked full of everything that is the 80s and more, guys. Now, you can't just stuff a bunch of references into a game and call it done, guys, but Saturday Morning RPG also manages to have a really damn fun combat system, keeping you constantly involved with the ability to dodge attacks or do extra bonus damage, rewarding you for good timing, and kind of just keeping you, like I said, constantly involved in what's going on the screen. Not to mention the puzzles that you can find, the extra hidden rewards, all the funny references and side missions. The game is written wonderfully and hilariously, guys. The pixel graphics, of course, do justice to all of your favorite cartoons that are masterfully hidden behind, other names. And the game is just a lot of fun, guys. I did an entire Let's Play series on Saturday Morning RPG, if that tells you how much I enjoyed the game, guys. Hopefully in 2015 we can see the release of episode 5 and we will play that together here on the channel, guys. Number 4, Crawl by Powerhoof. Now, even though Crawl is an early access game, guys, I found myself sinking many hours into it. And the reason for that is because this is what party games are all about, guys. The action never stops, the fun never stops when you're playing Crawl. Now, when Crawl first hit early access, I was instantly drawn into this game's idea and playstyle. You're never going to have a dull moment as you play the role of the monsters and do your best to impede your fellow players at every turn, trying to brutally kill them and become the main character yourself. Not only is that concept genius in my opinion, they also added in a whole plethora of roguelike goodness thrown in there. From random items in the item shops to random traps littered about the room, the game is constantly shifting and changing things so that way you're always on your toes and you never know what to expect when entering into a room. Not to mention all the different kinds of play styles there are as you level up your monsters to become different creatures. Some of them are melee, some of them are ranged. The game is constantly changing things up for you, the player, as much as the people playing the monsters. Crawl quickly became a game that I found myself playing over and over again, guys. The reason for that is the way that things unlock in this game is you beat it and then it gives you more content, more items, more monsters to play around with and kind of fiddle with. It's just a great way to reward players. The only thing that it really lacks, guys, is multiplayer, which is a feature from what I hear may be coming in the distant future. Nonetheless, though, the developers are still hard at work adding more to this already fantastic title, guys, and I highly suggest if you're looking for a party game, Crawl is your choice. Number 3, Wasteland II by In Exile Entertainment. If you're a fan of Fallout or XCOM and you always felt like you wanted to have even more RPG elements thrown into the game, guys, then Wasteland 2 is the game for you, guys. It's an amazing sequel that was 26 years apart from when the first game released, Wasteland, on the Commodore 64 and Apple II, guys. In the game, you will craft a diverse and unique Desert Ranger party, and they better be unique, otherwise you're going to die very quickly in this game, as there is always some sort of situation that requires a diverse amount of skills to handle. And that's one of the things I really like about Wasteland 2. There is no one size that fits all, and you need to have a diverse group to take care of all the situations. Wasteland 2 makes each character in your party feel extremely important. All your decisions are extremely important, not to mention gut-wrenching decisions, as you will have to decide, well, basically who lives and who dies, giving the game plenty of replay value, seeing how the different decisions change the course of the overall game. And if that wasn't enough, guys, the game is packed full of intriguing writing and a demented sense of humor. Easily a game that you could sink 50 to 100 hours into and still enjoy to the very last hour, guys. Wasteland 2 is a fantastic title and an example of how using not necessarily the most world's impressive graphics can be still amazing and fun in a really deep, rich game, guys. Number 2, FTL Advanced by Subset Games. Speaking of hundreds upon hundreds of hours sank into a game, guys, FTL Advanced might need to be listed as a drug for how addictive this game really is. You know what I'm talking about if you played the original FTL, guys. The developer already had an amazing title with just the first iteration of FTL, guys, and then they added to it for completely free and made a masterpiece. I don't know how, even more of a masterpiece, guys. But what can I say about FTL that hasn't already been said? This is what indie gaming is all about right here, guys. Simple designs with massive complexity to master. The developer made a fantastic expansion that they could have easily charged for, adding even more elements to change the game up and give you more customization and features that you could play with. This hasn't made the game any easier though, because I still haven't beaten that damn boss in the Advanced Edition, guys. FTL is a wonderful mashup of rogue elements with strategy, guys. Matter of fact, FTL is what other games should inspire to be like. Every game you play is fresh and unique, and you never know what you might encounter. Even despite it being a rogue game though, guys, there's still a massive amount of customizations and strategies to develop for your own perfect vessel and ship. If that wasn't enough, guys, they even added a whole new species for you to enjoy, try out the several new vessels, and even added more robust game events and weapons and God knows what else. If you question why FTL is on this list, guys, just ask yourself this. Why is there over 300,000 videos of FTL on YouTube? And that's because FTL is a fantastic title, guys. Number 1, Transistor from Supergiant Games. Now guys, before I started my indie channel, I had played some Bastion. I've always been interested in indie games, and I knew that Supergiant Game was a developer to keep an eye on, and I knew that they were making great games. And when I saw footage for Transistor during, I think it was E3, I was immediately captivated by the style and the intense tactical combat of the game. What I absolutely love about Transistor more than anything else, guys, even though while it is an amazing game, it's more than that for me. It's a whole package, delivering on every front, from music to visuals to story to atmosphere. Transistor was almost like a movie for me, guys, presenting me with these characters and a story in a beautiful fashion that I controlled, guys. While I could gush over the beautiful music to the amazing voice work, I could just gush over Transistor for hours, guys, but I'm not going to do that, so I'll just make it simple. The gameplay itself is deep and tactical, and really does a good job of making you feel like a badass, using the powers of Transistor to dispatch enemies in style and offering deep customization that you can craft your own, unique combat style, guys, using different powers and combination together to cause different effects. If that wasn't enough, guys, there's a whole new game plus mode to ramp up that challenge and really put your skills to this test and see how good you are really at Transistor. Plus it adds just a whole lot more replayability to an already amazing fun game, guys. To wrap this up, guys, I was drawn into Transistor and shown an entire universe. And to be honest with you, I couldn't get enough of it. I mean, I wanted to see more, I wanted to hear more. I hope that they make a Transistor 2. How much I was just completely blown away by this game. If you doubt me, I encourage you to go ahead and check out this game for yourself. You won't regret it. Transistor is my game of the year because it accomplishes in every facet, from gameplay to sound to music to controls to the combat. There was no aspect in the game that I found lacking, and I just loved it from beginning to the very last end. And it's just a game that I really enjoyed this year. So that wraps up my top 10 indie games of 2014, guys. Just want to give some quick honorable mentions and shout outs to Black Ice, Monochroma, and Story About My Uncle. Those were some really great games that I also enjoyed this year and feel that they should be mentioned for great games of 2014. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment and tell me your top 10 indie games of 2014, or how you felt about my choices. Maybe you felt they sucked. Tell me what you feel. I don't mind. Throw it at me. Until next time, guys, like I always say, play more indie games.